What's going on, people? Welcome to 137 Works, and today I have basically a plea for help. Essentially, my PC is borked. Essentially, long story short, if I kind of cut to a different angle, I'll give you a look to see the state of it. Yeah, so that's the old motherboard. I was doing some testing. There's all the wheel parts, all the SATA cables, cleaning off the thermal paste. That's the actual motherboard processor. The RAM is in the box. There's the graphics card. Actually, I'll tell you, the RAM's over there. All the screws and stuff, the power supply external, the case, which is completely empty. But yeah, unfortunately, at some point, the thing got deaded, essentially. So basically, the long story short of what happened was it was kind of getting overheated a little bit, I think, and shutting down randomly in the middle of games. It's very warm in Ireland at the moment. It's the summertime. It's smack bang in the middle of the summer, and essentially, yeah, just when I was running certain games, I hadn't. It's been a while. It's been a good few months at least since I cleaned it out, and yeah, just basically it was shutting down. And so I was like, okay, listen, I'll do it a favor. I'll clean it out. Like I'll be nice. I was trying to be nice to the thing and look after it. And yeah, at some point in the process, it was then turning on, but then wasn't posting. Nothing was coming up on the screen, so it was coming on, the fan was on, everything was working. But what I now know was what was causing that was the 4-pin CPU connector I'd forgotten to plug back in. So I'm pretty sure that that's what was causing that, which is a fairly simple fix. If I could do that, I would obviously just plug it back in, and yeah, that was that. So because I didn't notice that at the time, I basically decided, okay, well, it's not working, so I might as well just take everything out, completely clean everything properly, as opposed to just cleaning it off and dusting it off and stuff like that. In the case, completely do it properly and assemble it all back together as if it was a new build. At some point, unfortunately, along that process, something apparently died, because now it's not powering on at all. Like, no matter what I do, pressing the power switch on the cable or jumping it with the screwdriver. I've tried, as I pointed out, the my previous motherboard, the old 3570K that I had, and the cooler for that, the Hyper 212, on the ASRock Z77 Pro 3, I think it was, the old one. Basically, I tried to do that, tried to rebuild that PC basically as my old PC was, with the new graphics card essentially and the old RAM and stuff, and still nothing. So I don't know if the case has gone dead, the motherboard has gone dead, the CPU's gone dead, or what basically. So here's some of the weird things that I've been noticing. The graphics card, when you plug it into the motherboard, so back to the actual normal one, the AMD build that I have, my current PC. So when you plug in the graphics card with the power supply switched on, lights come on basically. When you flip the power switch on, two white lights come on. Obviously it's connected from the PCIe power supply, which just tells me the power supply is probably working. And also I did the paperclip test on the power supply. I went around and bought some paper clips and did that, and basically it seems to be working fine. Yeah, so the power supply, but then here's the weird thing. Alright, so I was thinking, okay, but the power is coming from the power supply, that's why the lights are coming on and that's why it's getting power. It could be that the motherboard is dead. But when you plug the power supply or the PCIe power out from the graphics card, when you then flip the power again, two red lights come on, essentially. Two like little red LEDs come on, where they're usually white essentially when you turn it on, they're now red, which means that it could only be getting power from the motherboard. So the motherboard isn't dead, I guess. Like, is that the kind of takeaway that you take from that? The motherboard isn't completely borked. Then yeah, so that's the thing that's confused me, because obviously the 24-pin connector plugged into the motherboard is supplying enough power to be able to tell the graphics card that it's the PCIe connectors aren't plugged in. So then I was like, okay, well, I guess it's not the motherboard. I don't think it's the RAM. The RAM has been fine. I've done every method that you can think of trying each stick. It's a mini ATX rather motherboard, so it's only got two slots. So I've been doing one stick in one slot, the other stick in one slot, and vice versa, like basically every combination you think of. So it doesn't seem to be the RAM. The last thing, and the kind of most obvious that you think, like, oh yeah, maybe that's what caused it, was at some point. So the whole thing that kicked this all off, essentially, I probably should have told this in order from when I started. When I took the CPU cooler off, and this is apparently a fairly common issue with Ryzen's, it's a very silly oversight, and I cannot believe that this is still going on. But when you take the stock AMD cooler with the stock paste off, I guess for the first time, the CPU comes out with it. I don't know whose fault that is. I don't know if it's AMD for using a thermal paste that just becomes like cement. I don't know if it's the AM4 socket lock thing mechanism that they designed. Don't know if that's on AMD or ASRock, but I don't think it's on ASRock, because I've seen that kind of socket lock design on basically every other AMD, at least AM4 motherboard. But yeah, just basically for some reason when you put the CPU in, you put the little latch down and latch it in, it's not actually latching it in, because when you pull out the CPU, or when you pull off the CPU cooler to replace the thermal compound, which is what I was doing, the whole CPU just comes out with it. So What I tried was I looked up some different things online, heating it with a hairdryer, like a hairdryer, and then essentially getting some dental floss and doing like a, if you like picture like, getting in between the seal between the CPU's cooler, or sorry, the CPU's lid and the cooler off the cooler. Yeah, trying to get in there and just kind of work it free. Didn't work. If it ever happens to you and you're wondering, I found just basically heating it up a bunch and then getting a screwdriver, as risky as it sounds, and just getting a screwdriver and just kind of lightly prodding it. Don't that's what worked for me after a lot of heating it up and a long time. I was at it for like a half an hour, 45 minutes, but that eventually worked for me. It just popped right off, no damage to the CPU later on like that. But yeah, in the process of trying the dental floss method, at one point it kind of like came loose and flung back over the pins, and it bent a pin. Now, I bent it straight back. I got a little toothpick and just put it in between them and pushed it up and just bent it straight back up. And it's gone back in. I've taken it out again since to double check that it didn't get bent when I put it down. So it shouldn't be the CPU. And this is what's confusing me, because again, I've seen videos on YouTube where people have said, oh yeah, I've seen like upwards of 20 pins bent. I got them all straightened out again. It went in, no problem again. Yeah, and so this is what's causing the confusion basically. Paperclip test on the PSU confirms that the PSU still works. The fan comes on, no problem. The motherboard, which would seem to be like the next most likely culprit, could be still dead, but again, it's sending signal to the graphics card, so it can't be completely bricked and just a cold piece of plastic basically. It's sending some kind of signal to the graphics card telling it that the PCIe aren't connected. The CPU, while a pin did bend, it didn't break off. I straightened it out and it went back in successfully. The RAM should be fine, should be no issues, and the graphics card, it's absolutely fine. It's a GTX, or it's an RTX 2060. Haven't damaged any of the pins or anything like that. CPU, or again, PCIe, when they're plugged in, the lights and LEDs work. Before I took it all together, the LEDs, the red LEDs, breathing lights and all that kind of stuff, or no, it's not RGB. Oh, is it? It might be RGB actually. But either way, the lights that are red by default, they come on, they start flashing, doing all the things. So it shouldn't be the GPU. And so as a result, I'm just lost and a bit stuck. And yeah, so this is why this is like this video I'm recording on my iPad now. Like if I'll record a video on my phone to show you my current setup. It's basically, yeah, because this has been like that for like a week or two now. I just haven't had a PC essentially, so I've been having to use this like bootleg ghetto like setup, and yeah, it's been really annoying. I've tried every trick in the book online, and so the only thing really it comes down to now is essentially I'm just gonna have to buy replacement bits, like start with a PSU, start with a motherboard, whatever it may be. Try to go with the cheapest thing first to see if that rules it out, which I don't want to do because I don't have really a lot of money unfortunately at the moment. I'm kind of in a sticky situation, so if I could get somebody that could take the information that I've given here and suggest some other fixes that I might not have tried so far, that would be brilliant. But again, if they're just the generic ones, like example for the RAM, just sticking it in, putting it back out, reseating things, I've done all of that. Everything basically, if it's on the first couple of pages of Google or Bing, I've probably tried it. So yeah, any kind of stupid thing that I'm obviously missing would be great. And also the whole time that I was doing that, I should clarify, I've been using a anti-static wrist strap on my ankle, tied to or connected to PC case. So highly doubt it's any kind of static electricity shock sort of thing. I've got wooden floors. I know that doesn't exactly rule out the possibility like that, but it's not like I'm walking around on carpet. And as I said, I do not work on the PC without attaching that strap and without like touching the power supply, touching the case, making sure everything's good to go. So yeah, just a bit lost and kind of desperate at this point. Really can't be affording to be replacing like every part of my PC until I eventually fix it. So yeah, any advice, any kind of thing that I might be missing would be appreciated, or if it's happened to you and you fixed it. It's just, as I said, again, repeat myself a bit, but just the sheer fact that everything individually doesn't seem to be the culprit, or like it should be the culprit, but when they're all put together, either breadboarded or breadboxed or whatever they're called, like outside the PC or outside the case or connected inside the case, they are it's just there's nothing happening. As I said, can't jump it. I tried to use the jumper method with the screwdriver on the COM port thing. Tried what else did I try? Yeah, but like again, as I said, I've basically tried every method and I'm just at my wit's end now. Haven't had a PC for like a month, like a week and a half now. Missing VR, missing just missing having something to do at the end of the day, sort of thing. Like I preferred the keyboard mouse setup than the one that I showed you in the clip earlier on with this laptop or this iPad. Just not great. So yeah, sorry for the weird upload, and obviously the first one in a while, and also for the weird probably camera perspective or whatever. It's probably like iPad 4x3 or whatever it is. But I'm using my iPad, as I said, and I'm going to be doing the edits to throw the clips together in Adobe Premiere Rush, which is going to be interesting to see. So yeah, bit of a strange one, but as I said, last stand before I have to go spending stupid money. So yeah, any help massively appreciated, and that's about it. Yeah, the normal intro doesn't really apply here. Like I don't think many people would enjoy the video, but yeah, go on. Cheers. Thanks for watching, and goodbye.